Thankfully, we have had this break in the rain, which has helped things move a little bit smoother. But as you can see behind me, it's still an incredibly serious situation because the floodwaters in this apartment complex have not receded this morning. There you see the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, their high-rise water rescue vehicle going back there to make one last attempt to try and help people evacuate. Over 20 years ago, President Charles had his bike stolen on his first day working for then District Court Judge Vicki Davis, but he never told her until this year. This is what I was talking about earlier, what was gone.
100% Kanaka braiding hair at the Mardi Gras Mobile. Home of the Mardi Gras.
No shortage of throws coming off this thing, so like we talked about earlier, if you're out here, definitely keep your eyes up, guard your grill at all times, and make sure you're ready to catch any and everything. So we're going to be hanging out here for the next couple of minutes while this parade goes by. Lanice, Jason, back to you guys. Yeah, they've been flying for about the last hour. We're standing kind of far back because some of them are going a little bit out of bounds, but the fish have been flying since about 10 o'clock, and it's all to help some of the children in our area. Now, this is a really fun event. Myself and photojournalist Lauren Chisholm Beasley actually took a shot at throwing a mullet a little bit ago, and if you've been a mullet toss at the Floribama, you know it's a lot harder than it looks. It also helps give them the resources they need to be successful after they graduate, and some of them who went through the program said it's already made a huge difference. Threek tells me that she's doing better, still a little sore, but has been released from the hospital, so certainly some good news there. Hi everybody, thanks for looking in. I'm Daeshen Smith. Ashland has the night off, and we start tonight with breaking news. Officials in Philadelphia are fighting the issues affecting their community by throwing a party to help bring people together and put an end to the violence in the city of brotherly love. The University of South Alabama has kicked off a 4-month speaker series shining a light on the efforts to preserve African-American cemeteries. Fox 10's Anaya Spraggs caught up with one of the speakers deeply involved in maintaining Mobile's historic Africatown Cemetery. Nick, you just saw that picture right there. It looks kind of clear over downtown right now, but that's not going to last for long now, is it? Strong storms ripped through the Gulf Coast, causing a creek to overflow near Forest Creek Apartments. As the water continued to rise, some of the tenants raced to grab what they could as first responders worked to get them to safety. Those who live nearby say it's a familiar sight.
This about my 4th time witnessing it since I've been living here, and I've been living on this street for 22 years.
The rescues continued throughout the morning, with first responders knocking on every door to help those who wanted to leave. Escambia County Fire Rescue brought people to dry land on their rescue boat, while the Escambia County Sheriff's Office used their high water rescue vehicle to bring several people at a time to safety, while neighbors watched on.
It's very sad to look at it because of the children. I watched them, come out all types of ways. I don't like it.
Crews were on scene until just before noon. Escambia County Fire Rescue says they rescued 274 people since the flooding started just after midnight. NAACP member and activist Lori Merritt says she arranged for ECAP buses to take some of the tenants to a shelter.
My first concern is the tenants, the kids, to try to get them out, get them fed, make sure they have food and proper transportation to try to get out of this mess.
No injuries were reported during the floods. Neighbors say they hope something can be done to keep this from happening again.
Something got to be done right now because we have children out there, the elderly. Anything could have happened to one of those children.
What does your training and teaching tell you?
Some Murphy High School students getting a behind-the-scenes look.
License and registration.
And a hands-on experience with the Mobile Police Department.
The whole point of this was to engage young people in such a way that kind of dismiss the notions of what they think they may know about law enforcement as to what they should know about law enforcement.
It's all part of the Bridging the Gap program that was started here in Mobile in 2015. Since then, around 1,200 kids have gone through the program. While the program is open to all students from the 12 high schools in Mobile, they typically focus on 9th graders.
Historically, the data that we've seen from the school system shows us that about 65% of their population, K through 12, which are 9th graders, are the ones that find themselves being arrested or incarcerated.
The program is so successful, it's now used nationwide and is the first youth program to be implemented by all 56 FBI Field Division offices.
What's critical for people to know how law enforcement interacts, how the FBI interacts with local law enforcement, how local law enforcement interacts with citizens is critical. And what we're here to do today is to explain those interactions.
Students had the chance to put themselves in the officer's shoes for different scenarios, like responding to a domestic call, a traffic stop, and a street stop.
I am a senior. I'm driving a lot now, so it'll be really helpful to have that experience, know what I should do, what I shouldn't do.
What goes on through their mind, like if they feel like they're in any danger, they have to protect themselves in order to get home safely to their families.
They even got to watch a demonstration on how dangerous explosives can be as part of what the students say was an eye-opening experience.
This was a different experience, more because it was teaching instead of going them during appreciation weeks. It was really nice to work with people who have hands-on experience in this field.
It was an emotional tribute for one of George County's finest, as family, friends, and community members gathered to pay their final respects to fallen Deputy Jeremy Malone.
He'll never be forgotten. He's our hero, and he'll always be our hero.
For the tight-knit community of George County, they're still coming to terms with the loss of one of their own. Gene Crocker watched Deputy Malone grow up with his son and says he was a true example of law enforcement.
He always done his job professionally. He loved everyone. You know, and you could tell by the people that's here today.
Some of those people included Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, who spoke about the impact Deputy Malone left on his community and the entire state.
Deputy Malone risked his life for over 2 decades. He left an incredible impact on everyone fortunate enough to know him. And the entire state of Mississippi is forever indebted to him.
Hundreds of law enforcement members from several agencies across the Gulf Coast escorted him from the church to his final resting place. That 6.5-mile procession brought them down Old Highway 63, where members of a group Deputy Malone belonged to called the Loosedale Jeepers were waiting to pay their respects.
Police officers here, there's not very many of them. We're in a pretty rural area. And to know one of them and know what he did for the community is just, we're here to honor that.
Tim Palmer with the Jeepers says Deputy Malone was with the group since they first formed 2 years ago. And while they'll always remember his sacrifice, he says they'll remember who he was as a person most of all.
I think what I'll miss is his friendship, his hanging around, his personality. He's a very likable man.
I'm going to say that the cause of death was not attributed directly to the actions of the police officer.
That update from Mobile Chief of Staff James Barber came during today's City Council meeting.
This is my first time hearing this, and I don't agree with what they're saying, if that makes any sense. My son would be alive had they not went to his car, approaching him anyway.
Juwan Dallas's family surprised by Barber's comments.
Say no more. Show the video. Say no more. Show the video.
Since July, the family and other community members have asked about seeing the body camera video of the deadly encounter with a Mobile police officer. Dallas was tased twice during a struggle.
It's driving a hole in our whole family. Why can't we get accountability for our son? Why can't we see the video? Why can't we see the autopsy?
Chief of Staff Barber says under the Grand Jury Secrecy Act, the body camera video can't be shown to the family until the grand jury finishes its investigation. Mobile Police Chief Paul Prine listened to the speakers and took questions from the council, including what happened to the officers who encountered Dallas.
Those officers are not a threat to the community based on the facts and irrespective to emotion, and they are back in the field and they are working and they are being worked.
Councilman William Carroll asked if there is a way to let the family see the video sooner.
If everything's in place, then I'm pretty sure that we can request or request to somewhat influence that it be moved forward so some type of relief can be given to both sides of this issue.
I got on the phone with the DA's office about expediting this process so we can give the family some relief. And so we're seriously trying our best.
After the meeting, members of the community marched to Mardi Gras Park with Dallas's family for a short rally and prayer vigil.
Not only we won a victory today in terms of getting the city council letter, in terms of getting 1 ounce of truth and an admission from the chief, but it also lets us know we can't stop.